Hello everybody, welcome to an exciting list video. Today we're ranking the first scenarios. Yes! We ranked them each 1 to 10, and we scored them up, a total score of 30. So you're going to see this is the ultimate PBG group rankings. Notably, this is the first scenario where you get to play with your investigators, so we're not doing the disappearance of the Twilight Estate, or whatever the hell it's called. While a cool thing, I've only played it once, and I'm happy that I've only played it once. Just kidding, I played it twice.
Yeah.
We did it once digitally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I keep meaning to print out the cards to use for that one and just keep them in the box. But I never do. I lie every time.
Yeah. Also, I was going to say something else, but it doesn't. I guess it obviously doesn't matter. Why don't we just dive in and get this going? What was it? It was about witching hour. All right, let's keep going. All right, for our first one with a score of 11, we have Ice and Death Part 1. I gave it a 6, Bryn gave it a 3, Travis gave it a 2.
So this one was really fun the first time you play it, but in subsequent playthroughs it is incredibly boring because you know what all the shelter values are and you can just go to the good ones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's no variation. There's there's a right way to play it.
Yeah, so looking ahead, I didn't give anything below a 5. Mostly because, I think I enjoy all of the opening scenarios more than I enjoy, the other scenarios in the campaign on average. But this one I agree with. It is, less exciting, but it still is just... It sets the mood. It's fun, clue getting Arkham, but there's definitely... I wish there were more surprises.
If there was variable shroud value, or shelter values, this would go up hugely for me. But as it stands, it is... There's just a right way to play it.
Yeah.
I give this one a low rating because sometimes you play through the lead up to it and you're like, I don't want to play anymore. But you've still committed to finish the entire campaign. Like, what if Dogman dies?
Yeah, what if Dogman dies?
There's not even any point to playing the game.
Yeah, what if Secret Ending dies?
Yeah, then what? If it happens later, you can be upset about it.
Yeah, I wish you were able to do it yourself, but you would have to do it in the scenario. But that would require the designers to put story in the scenarios as opposed to the campaign guide, which we know doesn't happen as much anymore.
No, it's much to ask.
But I am looking forward to. People have asked us, they said as a list, we should need to rank all of the expedition members, and I'm excited to see you balance out Bryn's 11 that he gives Dogman.
Yeah, so Dogman is definitely 35 out of 10.
I mean, I gotta be honest, Dogman probably ranks pretty high because he's made it through every campaign I've done, I think.
I was actually thinking,
he's lived every time.
I was like, why do we always play the same setup for City of the Elder things? It's because Bryn always says we have to save Dogman. Yeah. By the way, also, we might have spoilers for these as we go, but they are the first scenarios, so these are the easiest ones to spoil.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're playing this, if you're just starting out on this one, sucks, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next one, which scored a 14.
You wonder why.
Yeah. So I gave it a 6. Travis gave it a 7, and Bryn gave it a 1. We have Extracurricular Activity. So, Bryn, why don't you start?
Okay, well, I give this one a 1 because I have played through it as my first scenario in Dunwich exactly once. Yeah. And therefore, that is the number that it shall score.
And you've played a lot of Dunwich.
Yeah.
Dunwich is probably the campaign we've played the most,
probably.
right?
Yeah, Dunwich, maybe Carcosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, is it better or worse? Not really. They're kind of very similar to play first or last. I just have done this exactly one time.
Yeah, I like this one slightly more than the other one because I'll get to the reasons I don't like it when we get to it, but I like this one because it is just like basic Arkham. You just show up, you get the clues, there's enemies you fight, there's a nice sort of story impact later daily with what objective you choose to pursue, and there's different objectives you can't pursue. It's nice. Yeah. And it's just a good scenario. There's a story that evolves over it.
To me, they also are very similar. I like Extracurricular. It's basic Arkham. But the reason why, spoiler, is I gave House Always Wins a slightly higher rating, and Travis and I basically flipped. Yeah. It's mostly because I think Extracurricular is more fun when you play it second, because you get to the stress points sooner. While House Always Wins is less fun when you play it for a second because of how the first little bit you have to work with the gambling, which might just go against you. So it's one of those things where I think Extracurricular is a better second scenario, but a worse first scenario, and opposite for the other ones. But otherwise, I like them both.
See,
very
I actually
similar.
like this one. I think this is just a better scenario than the other one because while the gambling part is fun, like it does kind of mean it would suck to like play with new people. You're probably playing Dunwich with like newer people because it's one of the simpler campaigns. And your clue person shows up, and you're like, hey, you don't get to do anything for the first.
No, yeah,
like,
that
10 turns.
it is. It's one of the things like definitely sacrificing flavor for function on that one.
And your fighter is also like, hey, you also don't get to do anything for the first little while. Like it's actively bad if you do. So just go like play the roulette.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is to go and posture at this mob boss. Good boss.
Go pretend you're smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean pretend?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll get to some. Well, I mean, I'll talk more when we get to House Always Wins, but I think, Bryn, you said your piece, so we can move on.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to, with a score of 15, 5s across the board, it's The Gathering. The first scenario.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's great at teaching people the game. The return to is like a pretty solid scenario. I would actually rate it higher than 5 if we were doing return 2s, but and yeah, it's simple. It's a little on the easy side, but it's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that it's on the easy side for the opening
Yeah,
scenario.
no complaints.
Right? But people still like shit a brick when they see the Ghoul Priest.
Yeah, it's good.
Dude's scary.
Yeah, we should just start shuffling him into every...
We did it. That was in the recent play along league. That was the challenge. He's in there, and he's terrifying when there's not just like little dumb ghouls for your enemies. Just
like running. Very big spoilers here for Forgotten Age, but you're just running down the depths of Yath and like you chase with all these snakes, and the Gold Priest is also there. He's like, hello.
I mean, it is
Why
fun.
are you
We should
here?
definitely do it as for us. Just do it for fun in a campaign because it is fun.
We should start doing it without telling Travis that he's in the bag.
Yeah. Travis.
John the Gold Priest just.
Travis just like sitting there like,
Yeah. Where he's just like, why did you guys each bring high foot investigators? All right, yeah, Gathering's a great opening.
You can show up with Rita and Bryn show up with like Winifred or something like that. I wouldn't think twice.
It's true. Yeah.
This is normal.
All right, let's go on to the next one with a score of 17. I gave it a 6, Bryn gave it a 5, Travis gave it a 6. We got Witching Hour, the opening of The Circle Undone. I'll start for this one because I haven't started for one. I like that it splits people up. I think that's a really cool kind of opening. Sometimes you can get like the shit end of the stick and you might just like be spinning your wheels for a bit, but it kind of like paints the picture on replays as like, okay, Circle Undone, you kind of need to be able to do a little bit of everything. Like your deck should be prepared more for it. I also do love how in 4-player you can just get the Dark Young and it can just be like a bad time.
I do like that.
Yeah. I mean, anything that uses those starting like Agents of X sets are always great. It's also stressful. I like when my opening campaigns are like opening scenarios are stressful. I think like it happens where sometimes the opening one is like a little bit harder, and it's because your decks aren't as efficient, so it becomes more fun. And I think that this one is really capitalizes on that. I just hate the memory issues that come with this entire campaign, so it's like a little bit lower for me. But I do like the whole thing overall.
Yeah, thanks, Bryn.
okay, so when they were like, what do you think of the Witching Hour? I was like, that's the first one out of... So like the one where you're like, I'm Penny White. And you run around and you're like, how do I die the best?
Yeah.
And Justin was like, no, we're not doing that one. It's the one after that. And I was like, oh, the one where you go back to the house and it's haunted and everything sucks. And he was like, no, it's not that one either. And I was like, Jesus Christ. You telling me there's another scenario in between these two? Yeah. Anyway, like I guess it is the part where like Annette Mason shows up and she's like, I want to become Azathoth or whatever.
Yeah.
But she doesn't tell you that because like
No,
that would be like a really bad secret scheme.
Yeah. That'd be a bad thing to tell random people.
Yeah, right.
Into your like secret witch coven.
yeah. Hello, by the
Just
way,
like,
I would like
hi.
to become Azathoth.
You'd be like, who is that?
Yeah.
No, like I do like the split up part is neat. One thing I'm not a fan of is like how you can just get screwed. The locations are all too binary, where they're like they require you to care about certain skills sometimes, and you just can't.
Yeah.
If you're playing the wrong way, that's scary. That feels bad. I'm also not a huge fan of like the story intro. It feels very much like they were going for like you were watching a movie where they have like the introduction and then it just fades into some like and then everybody gets there's a scene where the guy gets swallowed by the Watcher or whatever and it goes to black and it just sort of fades into some random dude picking through the foggy woods.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
there isn't like a ton of support for like, why am I wandering through the woods?
Yeah, it's that time-honored film device, the dissolve.
Why are there 4 of us randomly wandering through the woods?
I mean, if they're gonna do something like that, they got to go all the way and have it go back. Only call back to the last scenario. It's like, oh, you remember that guy got sucked into the mist?
Yeah.
He's here. Yeah, because I actually think it would probably float better if it was that happened. It then goes to like the 1 week later. Oh, we're gonna go to the Silver Twilight Lodge. How fun is this? You know? Yeah, I agree with that. Cool. All right, next one also with a score of 17, but we gave it the win. I gave it a 7. Bryn and Travis each gave it 5s. We got the Untamed Wilds. So first opening of the Forgotten Age, we were big haters.
Why do you like it?
Why do I like it?
Yeah, you gave it a 7.
Because it's so stressful. And I love how it's like how stressful it is. Okay. I also like how much you can actually, when you get more knowledge, it's really fun to like play around the Ishtaka plan. You're like, okay, Ishtaka's going to be here. So it's like one of those things where it's like, you can now like plan for it. It's like, okay, so I want to be at this location. We want to do this. We're going to do the things like this. There's a lot of like forward thinking that this scenario provides that some of these other ones don't for me. I just also love the snakes. I love how scared I am of getting poisoned, and the fact that it's like Curtain Call always stresses me out. This scenario also always gets me a little bit tense, but the explore mechanic is a little bit clunky, even though I do like it, and I actually, at this point now, I'm back to liking regular explore more than return to explore.
Weird.
I know, but just because the nice thing about the explore rules is that you can decide the pace that you want. Do you want one where it's going to be like harder at the front, or do you want one it's going to be harder at the end? Because they each scale differently, right? Depending on how difficult, where you want your difficulty point to lie, which is nice because then you can decide which one is more for you. But I love this scenario. I love the snakes, and I love how much it makes me worry that I'm going to die, which is I think a win.
Why do you dislike it, Bryn?
I don't dislike it. I gave it a 5 because I've played 50% of the story. That's like, you know, you show up and like Ishtaka's like, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's probably pretty dangerous. And Alejandro's like, kill everybody. And you're like, dude,
kill her.
I do.
Calm down.
Yeah, a big knock against the story for that one is I do wish it made it like even more mechanically appealing to side with Alejandro.
Yeah, like the story further down makes it like more reasonable too, but at the start it's just like, you know, like the natives show up and they're like, hey, this is like a sacred place or whatever, you shouldn't screw with it, and Alejandro's like, kill them and take this treasure.
Yeah, cut out their eyes.
You're like, well, am I going to be a horrible person or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, that's why this one got a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big point against it for me. It is like relatively not memorable. It kind of blends into just like all the explore and jungly stuff that is the Forgotten Age for me. Not that they're like bad individually, but it again, there's nothing like particularly memorable about it. It's an okay scenario.
I just wanted more Indiana Jones out of this, I think, than was actually ever going to be there.
Yeah. All right, on with a point with 18. This one's wild. So I gave it a 9. Travis gave it an 8, and Bryn gave it a 1.
Yo.
The Pain of Despair. And this one, Bryn, why don't you start? Because this one is actually like a legitimate one.
Yeah. This one's some meme rating.
Probably.
Yeah.
But you haven't decided yet?
No, I just, so like the first time I played through this one, I actually like quite enjoyed it, but playing through it afterwards, I find it like immensely stressful in a way that I don't like. Where there's like a lot of burden of me remembering which tunnels exist and what could possibly be the spaces next to me, and like I understand that you don't have to play it like that and you don't have to think so hard about it as I do, but like I can't. I can't not do that, and because of that, I generally don't have a good time while I'm playing this one.
That's a fair point. There's like
it's not
optimal way to play it, like not from the beginning, but like you can figure it out as you go, if you know what's there. That's a very fair point. And like I do actually like it a little bit less, coming to realize that. But something I do like it as a starting scenario, where I know I complained about them like just dumping you in a scenario like for the Circle Undone one, but I think it works for this one because like the whole amnesia thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if I don't like how they wove it into the campaign.
Well, you don't like, don't spend your XP because this is the past.
I don't even care about that. I just don't like them jerking you back and forth. Like, just have them, like, it would have been, I've said this before, but it would have been so much better if you had the first two scenarios where you do, or like the first two present scenarios, do the Pit of Despair, you climb out, and then you get through the town, all the deep ones are attacking you, and then you get to the car and you get knocked out, and then you get to replay the 4 past ones and remember everything that happened, and then you get to, like, and you're like, oh yeah, that's how I got knocked out and put into the Pit of Despair.
Yeah.
And then you get to, like, actually do the rest of the campaign.
And it is actually kind of fun because then both of those story beats end with you getting knocked out. So like the knockout transition to the past and the knockout to Pit of Despair back to the present.
Yeah, instead of them needing to, like, figure out 4 different reasons for you to suddenly regain some of your memories, like...
Yeah, that would be, that is...
No, next time we play through Innsmouth, maybe we'll play through it with, like, you know, it'll be like the re-released edition, like Innsmouth,
the remaster.
Remaster, yeah.
Yeah, the Travis cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, Scenario 2 is going to be so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, though.
It would be.
Scenario 7, real easy, though.
Pit of Despair is actually, after a lot of replays, is becoming probably my favorite opening scenario. Because it does what Curtain Call does, which is also just, like, stresses you the hell out. Because it's hard. The Deep One Bull is a scary card that can show up, right? Especially a level 0 deck. And the flavor's really fun. The flooding mechanic's great. And I can understand, especially about, like, the mental, like, I need to be, like, what can these do? I just don't think about that. I'm just like, what location's next to it? Let's just swim right in.
I've noticed.
Yeah. You know what? You don't live in fear. And you can still win with it. Just no fear Shakespeare.
I do also just, like, how like, RNG dependent this one is. Where, like, drawing the Deep One Bull on a wrong turn really sucks. If you get it early, like, sometimes it can just cripple you. And then, like, the placement of your tidal tunnels can also be like make it a breeze or just, like, screw you.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the variance. I'd rather, like, cause like then if it's just always 2 the same, then we look exactly at, like, what Ice and Death, and it just ends up being the same thing each time, right?
I mean,
the
like,
variance is what makes it.
Like, we're gonna get to it later, but, like, Curtain Call is effectively the same every time, and it still does a great job of stressing you out.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you go
Without the
backstage
RNG.
and they're like, there's rats. They're in your pants.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
what are you gonna do?
at a wrong time,
You're
I've had it where, like, when a poltergeist shows up and you're just like, just like in the back. I think that's less of a problem than, like, the Deep One Bull, admittedly, but, like, it still can happen. But I mean, like, I agree, Curtain Call is great, but I like the variance and the feeling that Pit of Despair
I
brings.
dislike it. I give it, like, an 8 or whatever, but maybe a 7 with the realization of that there's, like, a correct way to play it, objectively correct way. But
Or at least an optimal way, you know, like, try
optimal,
to, like,
that's the better word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? H, with a score of 20. I gave it a 7, Travis gave it an 8, Bryn gave it a 5. We got Riddles in Rain. We'll just go up front. Bryn, you gave it a 5 because...
I don't know which one this is.
So this is the Scarlet Keys one.
Bryn, you gave, what's the Miskatonic one?
Extracurricular?
You gave Extracurricular a 1 because you played it once, and you gave this one a 5 despite playing it once. Curious.
You couldn't actually prove to me that I've played this once.
That's fair. I tried to explain it to you. You're like, I have no memory.
I have no memory of this place. Yeah, no, I honestly, like, I don't...
Yeah, I mean, we only played this one once.
Yeah,
like, Travis and I played twice. Travis played it 3 times.
Yeah, most of my game was like, why have I built this shit? What have I done?
Yeah. I actually like this scenario quite a bit. I think that they did a really good job of, like, it feels like nice. There's no, like, there's no gimmick to it. It's just kind of, you're playing Arkham. They do a good job of introducing the concealed mechanic without having it being overbearing on the scenario. There's a nice straightforward, they kind of tell the story in the scenario until you get to the end at least, and then they're like, read 5 fucking pages.
You must read The Lord of the Rings.
It does a good job making you feel like you're just kind of bumbling around London. You find a suspicious dude and you chase after him, and it's good.
Yeah. I agree. And I like the scenarios where it's like, get these clues before this much doom is on here, and you get a reward. Because I'm like, hey, I just gotta just go and get clues. I gotta just play the game. There's like no special rule where it's like, right?
You're just getting the car while it drives.
Yeah, but but I'm curious to see how this one goes more. But it is just nice and simple. It's like not bad. It's not like particularly amazing. It's just like good or great. Yeah. Okay. Up next, we got Waking Nightmare with the spiders. This is in St. Meredith Hospital. I gave it a 8. Bryn gave it a 5. Travis gave it a 7 for a total score of 20.
In spite of us finishing this campaign today, Justin
I actually forgot about them. Yeah.
Both.
No man, the worst thing is I had all of the expansions here, and I was like, "Yep, got them all."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I love this scenario. I love the how the tension goes up, and then you get like a feeling of victory for the last half, which is really fun. The spiders, the big ones, when they show up at level when you have your level 0 decks, they can not like the swarm of spiders, but the big ones, you know.
Grey Weavers?
Yeah, the Grey Weavers. They're a scary enemy for level 0 decks. Like, you can definitely manage them, but they're pretty spooky. Admittedly, I won't for a second pretend that the whole second Mythos cup, like the second token cup for the infestation stuff, is, like, elegant or even, like, easy. It's kind of a little bit, like, much.
I actually kind of like that.
That's fair.
I wish they'd incorporated it more into other scenarios instead of abandoning it.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, like, it still provides a very fun tension point every time you happen, where you're like, we have to go and stop this before it spreads out of the stairs. And like, I think that's a very fun, like, objective through line that it can provide. And I love that it's like the only campaign in the game that scenario in the game that I can think of that has that kind of loop where you're like, we're winning, we're kicking ass, we're stopping all these scary spooters.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not a huge fan of it. There's like that point where you feel it's victory, you're gonna win, but it's like pretty sharp drop off for me after. There's that one like linchpin location that you get it, and then the infestation just can't spread anywhere meaningful anymore. It's just kind of like I also like this one in general is just like a little easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a problem for the majority of Dream Eaters too.
Yeah, kind of. It's not particularly like the story's not like really compelling either. Like there's a doctor or something, and I don't even.
It's really hard to say.
Honestly, I didn't even know that was objective. I didn't even remember until you were talking about it. I like you just kind of. To me, you show up in the hospital and they're like, "There's spiders." And you're like, "I go kill the spiders," and that's it. You know.
Yeah, no, the doctor's there.
So.
What about you, Bryn?
I just think this one's all right.
Yeah.
Like it is pretty. I don't think I've ever come close to losing this one. I've definitely had like one run where it was like, well, if the game ran another turn, but I can just spend the clues.
Yeah.
So it won't. Parkour on the stairs is fun.
It's super sick. Yeah, it is super sick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You hurt yourself in the hospital, and they're like, "What did you do?" And you're like, "Well,
You're in the hospital already, Bryn. It's the optimal place.
Yeah, this is the time to
to run that wheelchair down the stairs."
I thought it'd be
Why would you
faster
do
than
that?
walking.
Thought it would be sick.
Yeah.
All right, next one with the score 23. I gave it a 7. Travis gave it a 6. Bryn gave it a 10. We got it. The brother sister to Extracurricular Activity. We got The House Always Wins.
Yeah, this one might be a little bit higher on the list than it deserves to be. But
Oh, this one's perfect.
it is a fun scenario. Again, there's parts of it I don't like, so I give it a 6 that I enumerated earlier. But it is fun. It does like do a good job of showing one of the things that I really wish they did in later campaigns, which is like mercilessly punish you for using a melee weapon or like certain traits of cards.
Yeah, those damn conglomeration of spheres.
Yeah, but then they also just like further down the line, they're like, "Did you bring a melee weapon? Because like, I'm gonna kick you right in the kidneys."
No, you have to have the gun.
Yeah, which is not a melee weapon.
We have to bring. Oh yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I wish that they carried that kind of design further in the campaign. Made deck creation more meaningful instead of just putting the best cards in.
Yeah, definitely.
But
yeah, because I would just love to see someone and be like, well, I can't use my Cyclopean hammer because it's going to get swallowed by these damn spheres more.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, like, obviously, obviously the conglomeration spheres, if they were designed today, would be probably have like 4 health as opposed to 6, right? But I would love to see that carry through, right?
It'd probably be like 4 health and have like 3 fists or something like that.
Yeah. Or even like 3 and 3. Yeah.
That is like the perfect enemy for narcissist Tony to fight, though.
Yes. Yeah.
He's just like, weapons, I don't even need those.
And I mean, like, it's also great for like a.
Just 6 actions.
It's the reason why like Let God Sort Them Out exists, because it's just like Let God Sort Them Out is just like this conglomeration spheres.
Yeah. This scenario specifically, back to that, is like the gambling is fun, but I don't think it's a particularly great like introductory sequence.
No, I think it does a very good job of introducing you to themes that will be revisited later on in the campaign, which are that sometimes you pick someone who's supposed to be pretty integral to the team's plan, and the game's like, you want to sit on your hands? And you're like, no, but that's all you got to do.
That's fair. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's a recurring theme.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like Dunwich has those problems are so bad at 3 and 4 players, and then at 2 players where you have to like flex more, it's not even a problem. I actually actively like Dunwich at 2 players because both the decks can like do that. But as soon as you get to 3 and there's someone who's just like, I got nothing to do, and you're like, yeah, well, that's what you get for doing what we say in all of our videos because it's the best team comp to bring, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Anyway, this one got a 10 because I've played it at least 10 times.
I mean, like we say it that way as sorry, you finish.
Yeah, that's just the number of the counting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like if I've only ever played the other one once and I've played this one at least 10 times, this one is at least 10 times better than the other one. That's just math. Pure and simple.
I was gonna say is that like we tell people to play those team comps because that's like a consequence of the campaign design. If they were all like done, we probably wouldn't suggest
definitely,
that.
100%.
Right? So,
yeah, that is true.
No, I still would.
You know?
All right,
this, you're not gonna have any fun, you idiot.
let's go to our number 2 with 25 points. Travis and Bryn each gave it a 9, and I gave it a 7. So I'm gonna get yelled at here. We got hello. Oh no, it's broken. It doesn't even want to show me it. Let me just. There it is.
It's here.
Oh, it's just a little bit delayed. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's Beyond the Gates of Sleep. The dream side of Dream Eaters.
Oh yeah, I really like this one because. So if you're like, it's not a good one if it's your first campaign after Night of Zil. I will 100% say that it's miserable, and like not really representative of the game. But you know, you've played like 2 or 3 other campaigns. You show up and they're like, you know, no Mythos cards, 19 Doom or whatever it is. Yeah. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
It does a really, really good job of introducing the Dreamlands and like the weirdness of it in comparison to the rest of the like the sort of the waking world. And then you go down to you spend the first like 5 turns just walking down the stairs, and then they want like you have to like strip away all the things that you brought with you and like start new when you're down there, and then they're like, stay on the path, but you can't. They can, but like
don't.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't.
Don't.
Then you go into the woods, and then there's all the cool Dreamland stuff. There's like Zoogs, and then there's like Clues, and then there's a Gug.
Yes, the Gug's really cool. I love the Gug's my favorite part of this scenario.
There's like a callback, not to the future part of the campaign, but to like the future part of the other campaign.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and you can be like, oh
yeah,
I remember you.
It also like loads you with experience, which is that's why I love the Dream Eater ones too, because you just get so much, and you just get to like. I know like a lot of people online, they say I hate the mechanics where it's only like 4 scenarios you have to build 2 decks. Nah, man, just you're. I'm gonna say this politely, but you're wrong. It's great. I love the short campaigns where you just gotta like play your decks. You gotta build your decks. You get them loaded really quickly. Then it's done. You just gotta move on. To something
it's
else.
Functional after scenario 1. Like it's like great. After you have all like the bells and whistles after scenario 2, scenario 3 and 4, you just get to play and you're like, yeah.
That is also probably a consequence of like we aren't people who get to play once a month.
That is very true. Yeah, that's very fair. So if you only play one,
that should be better for them because then they get to experience more cards. They get to feel like they're playing with more of their collection.
You get to play with your guy less.
That is true. Like especially if you only play if you play 2 scenarios, you get to upgrade your deck and then you get to look at him and like. But I mean, at that point, you should. I mean, Dream Eaters as a half campaign is still a really fun time.
It is.
Yeah. I agree with everything Travis says. For me, it's just a bit linear. Like, I love the opening the first time, but I hate walking down the stairs like future times.
That's fair.
And if there was like, like 2 more woods locations to go into the woods pool, I think it would definitely shoot up for a bit, because I know like only 1 is taken out, and I wish there was a bit more.
Maybe if we ever could return to the dream.
No, no.
Yeah, I just like it. You know, you show up and Nasht and Kamen are there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You show up and you're like, your house is on fire, man, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, take a damage.
You're like, should we try to put it out? And he's like, nah, it's supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And then he's like, take off your clothes.
Take off your clothes and show me your weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buy me dinner first. No, that
Cook some Zoogs in the fire over there.
that part's pretty cool. I also just really like killing Zoogs. Those guys suck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm definitely like not a suit full of cats or whatever.
I love the blind play of this one's also just incredible with what you were saying. And then you get to the bottom of the path and they're like, they told us not to stray from the path, right? Yeah. It's cool. All right, our number 1, you probably have picked it out by now.
Let's see the one that's left.
The one that's left with 29 points. I should have given it a 10. I regret. You know what? I'm going to up it up right now. I'll just do it. All right, with a score of 30, a perfect 10s across the board. We got curtain call. Great scenario, big butt baby.
Big butt baby, lots of variability. Well, enough variability, especially like twice as much variability in the return to. Cool stuff. Like it subverts your expectations where there's enemies that the seeker has to kill, and sometimes the seeker doesn't want to go to other locations because they're full of rats.
Yep.
You think you're gonna get something special by picking Lola? Subverts your expectations.
You don't. You just gotta move one location.
Yeah, like if you are one of those strange individuals who thinks that Lola is good and likes playing Lola, I would actually subtract a point from my rating because you have to read more, and it's the same.
Yeah. Just start in a different place. Man.
No, you don't. It's basically the same. It's like you get like a free shortcut, sort of, if that's the side you want to go to.
It has all the hallmarks of what you like, Justin, where it's stressful.
Yep.
You don't get to the far side, and you're just kind of playing the game, and you're like, it's mysterious. It tells the story in the campaign, like I like. It's got Big Butt Baby, which Bryn likes. You know, you get to the end, is the paladin, and you're like, hey, who are you?
Yeah.
Why is everybody else asleep or dead or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's like, everything's on fire.
Yeah, and he's like
See
the
you
old
later.
goo.
And it has behold my goo. It has the thing Bryn likes where you can jump off a high wall.
You can break your legs.
Parkour off.
Honestly, I wish they told more stories through locations like that. Whenever they get one of those, what I think that what makes Curtain Call so good is that it's a compelling scenario where you really only have 4 relevant locations. Like, because most of the dead end, like most of the backstage and front stage
They're just there to
stories,
hold clues.
yeah, and then you're done with them.
Yeah.
But then it's like the 4 locations.
They're there to
that's
hold
like,
precious XP because there's not very many points of it.
Yep.
But like, it's a great scenario, and like Big Butt Baby is always you're like, can I kill him one more time? And like that's where the stress comes in. It's like we might need to kill him one more time. How easily can I do
How many
this?
foot tests can I pass on the way out of here to get through the water or whatever?
Yeah.
And it has like immense replay value because there's always like, how many times can I afford to kill Big Butt Baby, and like trying to figure out the puzzle of how much victory we can get off locations and still get everyone out. Can we end the scenario with Big Butt Baby in the victory display?
Yeah. Because that's 2 experience we would love to have. Yeah.
It's like twice as much as you'll ever get again.
Yeah. Great scenario.
Really is.
That's it.
Yeah. Sometimes you get to play Will Yorick, and the people you're playing with are like, can you kill Big Butt Baby again? And you're like, if I'm allowed to play with skill cards, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you killed him like 4 or 5
Yeah, I mean,
times.
even like in the assets only, like I made him attack me. Spoilers.
Yeah.
He attacked me many times that he didn't have the right to.
Yeah.
Many times. And he still died more than 3 times, I think.
Yeah, I think you killed him 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. What are your favorite opening scenarios? Do you agree or disagree with our list? Let us know down in the comments. And thanks for watching. We'll be back next week for another list video. And, I promise, we keep referring to this Assets Only Challenge. It's actually coming out soon.
One day.
Yeah, actually, first week of April, I think.
I found my Will Yorick.
Let's go!
No,
That's
yeah.
great! Let's go! Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a good one. And as always, a GG's. Please, why did my shortcut key not work?